Two brothers. One speaks no English. The other learned English from watching the wide world of sports. So you tell me, which is better, speaking no English at all or speaking Howard Cosell? Well, I guess either is better than speaking like Lou Diamond.
Would you like to learn from those that are taking their lives, their businesses, and their passions to the next level? Best-selling author of Speakeasy and master connector Lou Diamond is here to connect you to some of the most inspiring and amazing people on this planet. Get ready to thrive loud with Lou Diamond.
Welcome, everyone, to another spectacular episode of Thrive Loud with Lou Diamond, connecting you to the most inspiring and amazing people that are thriving each and every day. I'm your host, Lou Diamond, and today on Thrive Loud, we have an entrepreneur, investor, advisor, and speaker. He has coached and consulted and advised thousands of companies in e-commerce, SaaS, and real estate and more to grow and scale their businesses. He is the owner of Powerhouse Brands and has a stake in multiple agencies in e-commerce, social media, and the creator spaces, helping numerous brands scale to 8- and 9-figure sales quickly. Thrive Loud listeners, I bring you Los Silva. Los, how you doing?
What's up, man? How are you?
Excited to have you here. Los is coming from Orlando, Florida, and he's sporting the full summer tan. We're recording this in late July. I'm sure it's like 165 degrees there or something.
It's
like
hot.
that. Yeah. All right, Los, what I want to do is I want to do a little rewind here. I do not want to go all the way to the womb. I want to go and understand how what you're doing now, became your gig.
Man, so I started on eBay probably like 15 years ago selling video projectors. Very random. No, it was an accident. It was literally an accident, and it worked. And I took that into becoming a distributor for other electronic products. Long story short, from there, I became one of the largest distributors of Bose speakers independently when I was like 20. And then that kind of started my entrepreneurial journey. I've never really had a job. I had a job at a sales, kind of like a boiler room kind of floor. And I realized I didn't have a job the day that room wasn't there anymore. And that's when I realized that was a boiler room. I didn't know any of that stuff, as a kid. And then got started, lost that business because the 2008 crash kind of turned it into a home automation business. And then I got back on the internet, started buying media, started kind of like testing some things, buying products, going to events, just getting my feet wet on that industry. Long story short, it's 15 years later. I've learned media buying, funnels, emails, anything you can think of. I've done it on the internet. And now we're here. I own a few different agencies, publishing business, brokerage, and we have our Powerhouse Brands, coaching, consulting accelerator with my business partner Josh Snow, and things are great.
Los, I've had a lot of people on this program who have found ways to be successful in an entrepreneurial way in the e-commerce space. And this was great. You're a perfect example that's doing it in an eBay world and then moving it into different platforms. And look, there's tens of thousands, millions of people that try to play in this space. What is it that you think you've done that's enabled you to be successful multiple times throughout this path? Is there some way or maybe a philosophy that's now part of Powerhouse Brands that you're actually have figured out kind of like the formula on how to be successful in this space?
In e-commerce specifically, or just in selling anything?
I'll say selling anything, because you obviously have a knack for doing this. Maybe it's a marketing piece. I want to hear what you've kind of decoded and figured out. Okay, this is what I've learned I'm really good at.
For the most part, man, it's all the same thing, just sold differently, right? And everything nowadays, like let's talk about 2022. We have a method. It's called C4. It stands for content, community, conversations, and conversions, right? No matter what you're doing, nowadays you have to create content at scale. You have to build some sort of community, email list, text list, Discord, Slack, Facebook group, whatever you pick, that's your community. Then you have conversations, right? You through email or text or DMs, and you're prying and connecting with the person. And then you have your conversions, which is kind of the final step. And so we kind of use that baseline inside of any business that we do. When it comes to the personal brand stuff, we kind of stick to higher ticket stuff nowadays. You're going to see an ascension ladder kind of come up because the economy's hurting. And so the 5,000, 10,000, just easy, quick hits don't work anymore. They work, but you're going to need to nurture and connect with people. That's why the C4 thing is so important. And it's the same thing with e-commerce. Personal brands and user-generated content are what is creating the sales and the connection with people. Blind brands and just brands with faceless people are not going to work anymore. People want to connect. People want to feel they're part of the community. They're being heard and understood. And those things are big foundations of how to build any business online.
So I love this. And obviously you've not only been able to do it yourself, you're now helping others to do it as well. In the way you're basically helping people build those brands to level. Now you brought a really good point. I want to bring up two topics and two challenges going on right now. Okay. There's the economy, which is one part, but that's always going to be up and down in any way you deal with it versus, a very easy time versus a hard time. I want to talk about all the platforms. One of the biggest challenges this day is that, it's constantly changing. Let's just even talk about yourself from moving from an eBay platform to the whole world, doing e-commerce and mostly is fighting Amazon in some form or fashion. From social media, it started out with Facebook and Twitter, and then has moved over obviously to Instagram and now TikTok and all these other things. Very difficult and challenging to keep your branding initiative happy and, to keep your branding positive and the momentum going, fighting all these different platforms to deal with. How do you help your clients do this?
We tell them to focus on one at the beginning and monetize that one. If you're doing e-commerce, we suggest running ads on Facebook still first. It's the easiest. You're going to kind of get your feet wet there. If you're doing personal brand stuff, we usually go on organic and Instagram. It's kind of like the new business card. Maximize that as much as you can. Try to get one channel to 100K a month, and then move into other things. Once you're scaling, it's kind of like a masochistic thing. Like, how long are you willing to endure losing money or investing in things to build that moat around your business? Like we're launching for my personal brand, just all the brands that we have, all the content I'm pulling out now. We're going to be doing 6 posts a day throughout all platforms, full editing teams, multiple podcasts and shows, a lot, right? Heavy investment. It's not going to pay the dividends immediately like direct response would, but I don't care because I understand that if I do the investment for long enough, most people won't, and so I'll beat them.
Yeah, this is, and I was going to say it's a staying game, and it's like any other brand, and I've learned this from podcasting. There's over 2 million plus podcasts out there, but there's a lot of podcasts that have pod faded, if you would, and our show's been going on we're heading towards 1,000 episodes or whatever we're at now, and it's very important to recognize that we're at a space when those that stick to it, but also have a really good system with it. And this is what I want to understand. The hats that you have to wear, you're managing your own brand, you're managing these other companies, you're helping to train and come up with platforms to help other pieces within them. That's a lot of different jobs you're holding on to. Is there one that you like doing the most? Entrepreneur, investor, advisor, speaker, coach? Which is the hat that you like wearing the most each day, Los?
I like speaking. Speaking is probably my favorite thing to big crowds. I don't get to do that every day. But I also like consulting. I like getting into other people's brands, helping, watching it click and seeing them have success. Like we're all small businesses at the end of the day, right? Like, and we all have a story. And so it's cool. Like, I just talked to somebody, they just had a kid, their business has tripled and they're taking more time off to be with their kid. And it's beautiful to see like just a bunch of normal people creating stuff online and turning it into awesome stuff.
Right. And by the way, listeners need to know he's smiling at your ear when he's saying this because he genuinely feels that. That's a shift when you had to do it yourself and you were growing your own business at a young age and then helping others to do that. When did you recognize that was something, one, you wanted to do, and two, you were pretty good at doing it?
I've always had a pretty good indicator. I would probably say 7 years ago or so, I had another business. I had just kind of gone through a transition and something else, and I got a business partner, highly educated, head of business development for a very big corporate company. And I was like, you should run this business. I started it. I got it to $1 million in like 3 months, and then I was like, hey, you're the better guy. You're the more educated, talented person. You do it. And then he almost ran it to the ground in 1 month. And so I said, hey, let me give this one more shot. Just me kind of running it, see what happens. I took that from kind of failing down when I had it up to 11 million in 10 months. And then I did, a few other brands, and just, it became like I can launch $1 million brand in like months. And so I kind of got it. I was like, maybe I'm good at this stuff. And then I started creating content about it, and people started reaching out more and more because of the success we were having on our brands, and it kind of just went from there. But I mean, at the end of the day, we always have imposter syndrome. My business partners and some of the businesses that I have are 9-figure guys, like we're working on 10-figure things, and sometimes I'm like, dude, I don't feel like I fit. But it's still part of being human. I'm grateful to be where I'm at, and I'm more than ever. I've started like journaling and things, because you don't realize. Like I remember the days where I used to pray that I can make $3,000. And now I spend it on a dinner. It's crazy. Like how you change, but you have to change so you can be able to change.
Note to self: I'm going to go dine with Los as soon as possible to find out where that meal is going to be. But this is actually a very good point, and I noticed this, and you mentioned this about whether it's imposter syndrome or any of these things. Look, you've been thriving on most days, which is great, and what you've been successful with. And obviously, we all have those moments where we slip, or we feel we can't do it. I love asking guests on the program this question, Los. When you have trouble thriving, what's your go-to practice that you seek out to get yourself back on the thriving track?
I go home. I'm kind of alone. I'm kind of with my wife, and I need to leave the office because I just become like stressed out over here. So I usually leave. I'll go to the gym. I'll hang out with my family. I'll just take a day off. I call some of my close friends and just tell them the truth and kind of get recentered back up.
I love that. Okay. Very simple. I go home.
Yeah.
It's interesting because we have a lot of folks that are working out of their home ever since COVID or whatnot, and they've been doing it that way. And it's really interesting. I get a text message around 6:30 every night from my wife, and I work at home, and it's like, when are you coming home? Type of thing, even though I already am. But I totally get it. It's the important part to understand what's important to your life and escape and get back in. I love that.
Yeah.
Let's do the admin part of the show, Los. Okay. Let people know where they can learn about you, Powerhouse, any of the things you want to focus on. We will put it on the show notes, but it always gets more engagement when they hear it from you.
So the easiest thing is to go to lossilva.com. And also, if you want to say hi, I manage my own direct messages on Insta at Los Hustle on Instagram. And from there, those 2 sites will direct you to any other brands that we own.
I love when guests name the episode when they're on the show, when they give their Los Hustle is what we're calling this show, listeners, because this guy is hustling in all these different spaces, and I think it's great. Before we go to Fun Street, I have one question specifically related to these big brands that you're working with. These, like you said, these 8 and 9 going to 10-figure brands. What's the biggest difference in your mind between the ones that are able to get to that 8 and 9, 10 brand versus the one that just, failed to get to that level? What's the biggest difference you think in those that you're helping? So not you, but the ones you're working with that are making their brands to that level.
Lack of ego, the people, and the processes and the product.
So sorry, lack of belief,
ego.
Lack of ego.
Yeah,
Okay.
Lack of ego. A lot of times people, we've helped people go from 300,000 on to 4 million. And then I told them that we needed to sell the business, and now they didn't. They wanted to be $1 billion business. Ego. They could have had so much money. Now they're, they trended down. A lot of times it's really the product. The product does a lot of the work. And I mean that if you're a coach consultant, if your product and your delivery and your service is good, or if you're an e-commerce brand and you have a good product, that matters as well. And then the people, you as an entrepreneur, as your team as an entrepreneur group, your culture, and then the people that you hire to help you grow the business is extremely important.
Let's go down Fun Street. You ready to rock and roll and head down this way? All right. Share with the listeners if you have one, do you have an all-time favorite movie that you love to watch or rewatch over and over again?
Probably one of my favorite movies is Boiler Room.
Okay. And why does that movie connect so much with you?
I don't know. It's because I used to do sales. Like I like I like the characters in the movie. It was good. Yeah, it's a good movie. And then randomly, it's a rom-com with Zac Efron and Michael B. Jordan. It's called That Awkward Moment. I always watch.
Oh yeah,
that's good movie. Good
I
wholesome rom-com.
Okay, here's how we're gonna roll on Fun Street on the speed round here. I know you can handle this, Los. Los, I'm gonna ask you something. I want the first thing that comes to your mind. These are things that lift you up, that motivate you, that make you feel good, that basically make you thrive. Ready? Okay.
Yeah.
A song, maybe of late, that you've been listening to, or one that pumps you up.
Sweet Child of Mine.
Ooh, I like it. Guns N' Roses. Favorite food that is not a dessert.
Burger.
Favorite dessert.
Cheesecake.
What kind of, you like a cream cheesy cheesecake or like an old Italian style cheesecake?
An Italian style cheesecake. Yeah. New York style. Boom.
I like it. An activity you wish you did more of.
Muay Thai.
Oh, you do that. Is that part of your training? You do a lot of that?
Yeah.
That's all. That's, by the way, beastly and awesome. An activity you wish you did less of.
Stress.
If I could snap my fingers, Lo Silva, and you could be anywhere in the world, where are you?
I'm at my house with my kids.
I like it. Family man, Lo Silva. He's got the hustle and he's got a great business. Everybody check it out. Powerhouse Brands. And we'll put all the links out there. Thank you for coming on Thrive Loud. Great to connect.
So much, man. I appreciate it.
You got it, bro. And to all our listeners out there, thank you for joining us. Until next time, keep moving onward and upward. And remember, be brief, be bright, be gone.
You've been listening to Thrive Loud with your host, Lou Diamond. Check us out on the web at thriveloud.com and follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook at Thrive Loud. And check us out on the Good Pods app at Thrive Loud, where you can follow, listen, and connect directly to Lou and all of the Thrive Loud episodes. Thanks for listening.